his hand, don't be mistaken. I believe in peace, but I won't be taken. I will not submit to authoritative man. I'm ready to die, but not for a lie. See the signs appear, it's gonna happen here.
This is Liberty Underground with Alex Snicker, Danielle Alexandra, and Greg Bowen on the 1787 Radio Network.
Well, good morning, Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, the entire state of confusion. This is Alex, co-host, Liberty Underground, along with me, the Duchess of Doing Stuff, my own personal Wikipedia, Danielle Alexandra. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Hey, it's good to hear you doing good.
Seriously?
You were starting right off with that.
Why would we have to start this way? Why can't we just start, start with a fresh slate, not trying to upset each other,
What are you talking about? What did I do that would try to be upsetting to you?
doing the voices?
Oh, you don't like it. Is there any of the voices that you like?
No, I like your voice, like your just normal voice, but anything past that, I don't like.
You know, I got to tell you, I like some of my voices.
Yeah, I know.
Especially the voices in my head. Those are the funnest.
You have quite a mess going on over there.
Oh, boy, I got a lot of it. Now, are you talking about, like, the layout of what's going on here or in my head?
Like, I think that your space over there now resembles the mess that's going along in your head.
I think the mess in my head is much greater than the mess in my head. I'm just saying. I'm just going to put it out there for you. Way bigger.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I didn't want to ignore it because I know parts of it is. And people are going to be like, why does nobody talk about the big mess right around Alex?
I actually got it off camera.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
The camera angle is
That's
changed
why
a
you
little.
were messing with the camera this morning.
Yeah, that stuff over there is kind of...
Well, because you guys can't see, because Greg adjusted the camera this morning because he noticed the big mess. Alex is completely surrounded by papers and just stuff.
Well, come on now.
It has encompassed his entire area. Like, you have like an empty cigar box over there, open, with nothing in it. And a tablet.
That's not true.
There's rubber bands and pens.
There's rubber bands and pens. And then you have your drink, and then a little tablet, and then business cards everywhere, pads of paper, folders. I mean, it's just, it looks like a filing cabinet threw up on your area.
It looks like somebody dumped their Rolodex out on his desk, that's for sure.
Hey, you know what? That's what happens. All right? Let's just look past it. All right.
Well, luckily for the people, I changed your camera angle, and they are looking past it.
Also in studio with us this morning is the Prime Minister of all things that are sinister, a gentleman that believes in peace, love, and harmony, and holy shirts. Greg Bowen, how are you doing, sir?
Spectacular.
I like it. I like it, by the way.
Breezy.
Breezy. You know, it's so damn hot out, I got to tell you, you might as well put a couple more in that for.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
It is.
It's Africa hot.
Yeah, it's extremely hot out this summer.
It is Africa hot, boy. It is definitely Africa hot.
But it seems like the winters have been so cold, so it's just such a extreme these last couple of years.
Yeah, this global warming thing, man. I got to tell you, man, I'm feeling it. You know, boy, if we could just change the angle of the sun, because that's the thing that causes it, not man, though, you bunch of dumbasses.
Yeah, I have tried discussing angle of insulation with people, and it just...
Well, and here's the thing is that when we were kids in school, I don't know about you, but I know that in science, they were talking about the coming ice age. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden it switched from no, you're not going to be covered in ice. It's going to be global warming. Like, nobody really knew.
Well, I used to talk about that. I'm like, well, we're coming out of an ice age. Technically, we're not. It's still going to get hotter before we go to another ice age.
But they were always talking about, well, we have to prepare for the next ice age coming. Like, really? Seriously?
Oh, man, I got to tell you. All right, well, it's been a very busy week, by the way. A lot of different things going on and a lot to get to. So let's just get right to it. We'll start with Charleston and the Charleston shooting. I reaction that you saw. There's two different reactions that we need to discuss here. There's the reaction that you get from what happened on the ground and with the people on the ground, and then there's a separate reaction that's happening nationwide because of this for other things. Mm-hmm. So you guys would agree that there's two separate reactions that we should be discussing here.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's I did kind of put things a little separate when I did the show prep because I think that it's a very different situation of what's actually going on in Charleston than how the reaction is across everywhere else.
Yeah.
But I will say this, though, but in South Carolina, though, the flag controversy is part of it, though.
It is part of it. But
So you have to look at it from that perspective.
it is part of it, but a lot of the people in Charleston, and you know, when you get out to other places in South Carolina, it's been, you know, a big deal. But I think in Charleston, you see a lot more of the people just trying to come together and be unified and not let those things get in between them. But in the rest of South Carolina and the rest of the country, that is not what's going on. We're not taking the lead from the actual place where this happened.
Exactly. What I'm seeing from Charleston is a bunch of people coming together, more tragedy, and trying to move forward and do it in the most positive way that they can while still mourning this tragedy. And I mean, I have to commend the people of Charleston, the way they've come together and the way they've handled this situation. I mean, it's they've done really well with this. The kind of comparable situations in other cities, things have gone really bad. And you know, this is actually going well. I mean, because of the racial tensions that have been going, especially in Charleston. With, I mean, this is the same city where not too long ago a black man got shot in the back running away from a cop. Mm-hmm. You know, so it would be very easy with somebody coming in with racial motivations in a black church shooting it up for racial tensions to get really bad there, and it's not. So I'm really impressed with how that's going there.
Yeah. I'm glad to see that, and I'm glad to see that people are coming together. I mean, those guys went so far as to reject people like Al Sharpton even coming in.
Yeah,
like to see the rejection of the race baiters.
Yeah,
was a good thing to see. I really was happy that was going on. I do still feel bad that, and this goes into the second part. I do feel bad that people decide, and this is going to be a little bit, I don't want to say controversial, but I'm not going to mince words a whole lot here. Those that are willing to stand on the graves of those that died in order to advance their own agenda.
Yeah.
That sickens me. Mm-hmm. And it started right off the bat with Obama. And I don't know, we probably don't attack Obama anywhere near enough on the show. But let me start off right now by saying that this guy is a complete scumbag. You stood on those graves. You don't even care. You don't even give a crap. All you saw was an opportunity, and you took advantage, and you tried to take advantage of it. And for you to do something like that, to say, well, we need gun control and this and that, there's no law you could have made that was going to stop this kid from getting. There just isn't. There isn't a law. The only thing that fixes it is if you allow others to carry weapons. And you know what? Again, maybe I didn't realize this 2 weeks ago, but maybe people, when you go to church, should have a gun with you. Because if somebody comes in there and starts shooting, you need to be able to kill them.
I know people that carry their gun to church.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, we know people who just carry it everywhere. They don't look at the place that they're going. They just say, you know, anything can happen anywhere. I am a legal gun owner that knows how to responsibly carry a weapon without any, you know, accidents, and I carry it everywhere.
Yeah, it's not about where they're going. It's about they're leaving their house, so they're packing heat because they always do.
Yeah, yeah. So let me go back a little bit though to the guy that did this, to the despicable human being that I hope gets the death penalty. That gets this, and I know you don't agree necessarily with the death penalty, Greg.
We don't have to get into that.
That's
It's
a
fine.
different argument for a different day.
Yeah, you're welcome to say that. It's fine.
But what I do want to say here, though, is that, look, there's a lot of different factors that can come into play as to who you can try to possibly blame for this. But at the end of the day, you had one evil SOB that decided to go in there and do something stupid. And that is the ultimate person responsible for what happened there. And he should be brought, that he is being brought to justice. And he should be brought to justice. With that being said, if Obama's going to come out there and be that disingenuous, because there is another correlating factor for every one of these mass shootings, every one of them, and that is drugs. And I'm not talking about the marijuana that Fox News tried to lay the blame to, that he was psychotic on marijuana.
They pulled a full-on reefer madness with that, didn't they?
They did.
Oh, man.
Not the strips of actual medication that have been known to cause people to get violent. They went to marijuana.
Hold on.
It was the reefers.
Yeah, it was that marijuana's. It's in every one of the inserts for all of these drugs. It shows possibility for very violent behavior. It's there. Again, what's the problem? You need to be talking about that if you're going to talk about, like, well, we need more gun control. No, you need better prescription control, guy. You know what I mean? You need to realize the kind of drugs we're putting people on is not a good thing. It's a bad thing. So that's one of the problems that's going on right there with this guy. But again, that's not an excuse. This guy is just evil. He was an evil kid who did something horribly bad, who should be held accountable for it. But the response by the people that want to stand on the graves is really despicable. Everybody that's got a problem is necessarily standing on the graves there. I do think, and this is where you guys might start disagreeing with me on some of this stuff. Look, for South Carolina, that flag, you know what? You guys want to take it down, take it down. It's up to those people to make that decision. But at this point, though, it's probably a good idea that you don't have that thing in the front of the Capitol. But I'm going to be quiet right now, and I'm going to let Danielle say something right now because I know that Danielle's dying to say something.
Well, no, I mean, I listen. I don't care if South Carolina keeps up the flag. It's actually, but I think that we need to be honest about what flag we're talking about, what it was, what it represented, and then all of the other flags that you're also keeping up there, and what happened under those flags. And I think that we're demonizing an inanimate object over something that had to do with a human being evil. And I think that that's wrong. And it's the same reason why we can't be mad at people for stomping on an American flag, because they look at some of the history of the American flag and say, I don't identify with that. But you have to be honest that one flag isn't better than the other, and one isn't evil, great, and we have to be honest about what happened. Number one, the flag about taking down is the battle flag of Northern Virginia.
Well, it started as the battle flag of Northern Virginia. It did ultimately become the battle flag of the Confederate Army.
Right, because the general liked it and decided to start using it. But it was never the flag representing the Confederacy.
Right. Well, the flag history is actually very interesting of the Confederacy because
they've gone through like 16 flags.
Yeah, the original flag was actually very similar to the Union flag.
Yeah.
And there was chaos on the battlefields. I mean, guys from the same army were shooting each other because they thought that they were shooting the enemy. So that's why they changed and started using the Virginia battle flag.
Because it was the only one that was different, looked different enough from the Union flag.
And then they took that to make it the Confederate, the flag of the Confederate States of America, but they put it on a mostly white flag with a red stripe. And then the generals started complaining because it looked too much like a flag of surrender because there was so much white on it. They're like, I'm not flying a surrender flag, it's my battle flag.
At first, it was just a little postage stamp in the corner with an entirely white flag.
Yes.
Then they put the red strip on the end of it. I mean, and that's the thing, is the Confederacy had many, many, many flags because they were trying to find something that differentiated themselves enough from the Union flag, but still kept within the colors and things like that, because they did want to have that heritage and stuff. But it never became the actual national flag. It was only battle flags. But that flag, in the form that we see, it was never actually the national flag of the Confederacy.
Okay. Now, I understand what you're saying. I understand the point that you're making when it comes to that this flag, if you look at the way that it was done in history, is not necessarily what people think it is. But in this game of history that we play here, this flag is now that symbol. And if you ask 9 out of 10 people what this flag represents, and they would say it represents the Confederacy. hold on. Let me finish. So historically, you're more than likely right.
No, I'm definitely right.
Look, again, I don't know enough to be able to contradict you on this one, and nor am I trying to contradict you on this one. But what I am saying is that it doesn't matter.
And I think it doesn't matter on both sides. And that's the point that I was going to try to make, is that for the people saying this is our history, and this represents our history. Now, especially here in Florida, people, you really look foolish. Florida was both had Union cavalry and Confederate Army battalions here in the state, because even in the Civil War, we still had a huge northern influence in the state of Florida. We were very divided in this state. Even though it was a Confederate state, the people of Florida were very divided, and many of them were also in the Union.
Yeah, even today, Florida is not the same as the rest of the South, and it never really has been. And a lot of that comes from the fact that it was controlled by the Spanish long into the history of this country. It wasn't even part of the original colonies or the original southern states. No. The Spanish controlled it.
And so for everybody saying, well, our history, no, if you want a real piece of the history, you're not even looking at the right flag. In Florida, the whole state wasn't even all on board with the Confederacy, so you look even more foolish. But that's the point, is that we're making this a controversy over a flag that doesn't even really represent what people on both sides say it is.
Yeah. And this is in many ways trying to, look, they rewrote the history of why the Civil War happened. Slavery was a part of it, but slavery was a small part of it. The bigger part of it was something completely different. And that what the Civil War was is not what's being advertised today.
Oh, no. And go ahead.
However, that battle was lost, along with the South losing. That battle was also lost. And for us to go back to have to rehash this thing out, in my opinion, is a distraction.
Well, I disagree with you.
I know you do, and that's why I'm going to shut up and let you talk.
No, I disagree with you, because I think this is something that is consistent up. No matter when we have any kind of racial tension, it all goes back to this time period. And then we all go, well, this is a distraction, and we push it off, and then it comes back up again. And I think that's why we can't keep saying it's a distraction and pushing it off, because because it keeps coming back up every time there's an issue. Because there is this fight over what happened. Was part of the Civil War about slavery? Sure, a small part of it was. Only 25% in the Confederacy actually owned slaves. Many more of them didn't, that still fought. So it wasn't all of it. And Lincoln, the great emancipator, only emancipated 200,000 slaves, which wasn't even the population of black people in Virginia. So, it was not this, great, all of a sudden all the slaves are free. It didn't happen. It didn't happen at the end of the Civil War. In the slave states in the North, they were still allowed to keep them. And anyone who had a large plantation in the South was also allowed under the Emancipation Proclamation. Lincoln, the same day he signed the Emancipation Proclamation, met with black leaders from all over the country, urging them to all get on boats and go colonize Africa because he wanted them to leave. But we have to understand that we're using this as a distraction on every single issue, because nobody wants to just settle it and be clear on and actually admit to what actually happened on both sides.
Correct about all of it. It's a distraction.
And it's going to keep being a distraction until people start discussing it and settling the issue.
Well, no, it's going to stop being a distraction when we stop having people that are trying to use race for their own personal agenda.
That's never going to stop. It's been happening since the 1700s, 1600s.
Well,
Since the beginning of humanity.
this is not the argument that I am going to choose to continue. I mean, look, we can talk about it on air. I'm not saying that we can't, but look, I'm not getting in. I have posted zero about the flag thing, and I'm going to continue that practice because, in my opinion, it is a complete distraction for the sovereignty-killing thing that actually happened this week, not what happened in the war of Northern aggression.
Well, the thing is that people put different meanings and varying importance on symbols. And when one person looks at that flag, it may be a symbol of oppression. And when another person looks at that flag, it may be a symbol of pride,
Right.
and give them a sense of historical importance for their state or their local region. Personally, when I see the American flag, that's the flag that was flown by the troops that were escorting my people out of their homeland. So I'm sorry that, to me, that symbol does not represent freedom. That symbol represents oppression to me.
And I'm sure there's some Japanese people that also agree with you.
Exactly. So, that's why I don't have this respect for the flag, where I don't have a problem with people burning it or stomping on it, because it doesn't mean anything to me either. It is a symbol of oppression to me. And when people see the Confederate flag and feel that, it's okay for them to feel that way. And it's okay for people to look at the flag and feel a sense of pride. That's fine. The problem is we're putting far too much importance on our symbols and losing ourselves in the propaganda of what we're told to think about them, and deeper into realizing that we have to every day take part in our country and our society to make it what we want it to be and make it a better place. If we don't like what these symbols mean, change the meaning, change what the country is to make the meaning fit. I don't complain about the flag and want to get rid of the flag because I think it's a symbol of oppression. I want to change this country to where it's not oppressive, not get rid of the flag.
Look, and I hate to quote Carlin here, but I'm going to go ahead and do it.
You don't hate to quote Carlin. No one hates to quote Carlin.
That's true. That's true. Let me take that back. I want to quote Carlin here. Symbols are for the symbol-minded.
Yes.
Now, what I will say about the Confederate flag is those that are racist, just admittedly so racist, find this flag to be their calling, their symbol, their symbol-minded symbol. Now, the people that hate the race and that are oh my God, we got to get rid of this flag because that caused somebody to shoot somebody. They're the symbol-minded ones that have this as the symbol, that somehow if we get rid of all the flags, that all of a sudden everybody will be okay and there'll be peace, love, and look, it's a damn flag. And what Greg said was right. We need to have a free country, not worry about the freaking flag. And if you want to make that flag more popular, start banning it. Because that's what they're doing. They're banning the flag, and people are going out crazy to go buy the flag.
Before they can't buy them anymore.
Sales are up like 400% on the flag. You know why? Because you told people, and it's not because everybody's racist, by the way. First off, it ain't because everybody's racist. It's because everybody doesn't like being told what to do. And if you're going to ban something, we're going to do it. Take drugs, for instance. You want to make marijuana boring? Make it legal.
Yeah.
Keep it illegal. Everybody wants to do it. You bunch of dumbasses. The hell's wrong with you people? I mean, not that people listen to this show, because obviously the people listening to this show have smarts and know what the hell they're doing.
All four of you.
All five of you. But these people out there that are like, we need to take down this flag and blah, 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 blah. Whatever. Shut up. I wish you had that kind of freaking. I wish you had that passion for the damn Trans-Pacific Partnership that just cost us our sovereignty. I wish you had that kind of passion for the things that actually freaking matter, instead of the symbol-mindedness of yourself, you freaking Neanderthal. I mean, really, you people are starting to really piss me off, all right? I've seen people get all kinds of bent out of shape and crazy about this flag bullshit. When you don't seem to give two craps that the Democrats and the Republicans got together, and the Republicans gave Obama so much power to pass this Trans-Pacific Partnership, which has so little to do with trade and so much to do with eliminating national sovereignty. Like, look, there was a civil war about this, in case you didn't know. There was a revolutionary war about this, in case you didn't know. Right now, we're 1-1. One we won, one they lost. Now, this one didn't fire a damn bullet, and we lost.
I'm compelled to quote Carlin again here.
Go ahead.
The word bipartisan means some larger than usual deception is being carried out.
Yes, some larger, yes. And it's funny that you have to go overseas to actually get new Fox News wouldn't freaking put this thing out.
The Guardian.
Yeah,
The Guardian and RT is where you can get news on
Here's
this.
how much corporations paid U.S. senators to fast track the Trans-Pacific Partnership bill. Again, it's all, go back and follow the damn money. Obama, look, let me ask you, let me just put it to you in another sense here. How do they get the Democrats on board other than paying them off? What was the one part of it that they wanted?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Because they seem to agree pretty easily on both sides.
What they wanted was, there's something that they wanted, which was the workers' assistance.
Oh, right. Okay.
For like the workers that were going to lose their jobs here in America.
They got a whole
wanted
bunch of
a
money,
bill to pay those people to retrain them in doing something else.
Right.
Okay. Maybe I'm crazy. All right. Maybe I'm out of control. But if you have to actually put another bill in place that will give money to people that will lose their job because of the other bill that you're doing, maybe you just shouldn't do the other bill. Like, again, they're like, well, this is going to be great for the economy. By what? Taking away all the jobs of the people that are here? Like we have so many left. Like, no, we have nothing but extra jobs, so we're going to go ahead and just get rid of these jobs. Don't worry about it.
It'll be great. You'll love it.
Rick Scott created like 4 million down in Florida. Just go down there.
Exactly. There's more jobs down in Florida you know what to do with, because Rick Scott and his friggin' string on his back said jobs. You bunch of dolts. I mean, what the hell? They're having to have a. I mean, did anybody not ask themselves this question? Like, if they're making a bill, part of it that's going to help the displaced workers because of the bill, just don't do the freaking bill. What the hell is wrong with you people? And they got paid off to do it. It's in the millions.
They got paid a lot of money to do it.
The average Democrat received $9,689.23 from donors. The average that were part of this thing. Hold on, let me start at the top here. Out of the total, which was $1.148971 million, an average of $17,676.48 was donated to each of the 65 yeah votes. The average Republican member received $19,000 from corporate TPP supporters. The average Democrat, $9,600.
From the same people.
From the same people, from the same people. Gave both sides the money. It's that 60-40 split.
Because Republicans are in control, so they got the bigger chunk.
Mm-hmm.
But Democrats got the donations from the same people, which is exactly what happens here in Florida. It is the split of who has control, and that's who you can tell who's going to get more money from the same people.
Minority, but your vote still means something to us. Let's pay you for it right now.
But you only get 40% because you only control 40%.
Yeah. That's what they did with this fast track. Now, you got to remember back when Ross Perot, when he debated Al Gore
The giant
with
sucking
NAFTA, the giant sucking sound, that happened. Do you want to know why? You want to know how you can prove that happened? Because the labor participation rate is about the lowest that it's ever been. And that is a factor. It's not the only factor, but it's a factor in all of this. Why do we not have bread lines right now? Because the government figured out that if we have bread lines and people have to go and get their assistance, then everybody will figure out that everybody else is getting screwed over, and they'll replace your dumb ass. So what they did instead...
Give you a little debit card.
Yeah, we'll give you a debit card so none of you got to see one another. So you think that you're the only one that's doing it and everybody else is doing a lot better than you are, so they can calm you down. It's to keep you docile. It's to make sure that they can stay in charge. That's what these people have done to you. And the end of the road is things like this. Is that we've made the Republicans. Now let me make sure I say this slowly and correctly. The Republicans have made Obama a dictator. Did they do it because they like Obama? No. They did it because they want the presidency to be a dictatorship, because they know in a couple years they're going to install their boy Bush. They're going to install their boy Bush, and now they'll have the dictatorship all to themselves because they're both in on it. They just switch it up. And again, it's not like the other side ain't getting paid. The other side's getting paid too. It's just a 60-40 split. When they're in charge, they get 60. When they're not in charge, they get 40. It's like the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. Whoever's guy's the big guy gets more money than the other guy. It's all a game. These guys are together. They're in on it together. And I know people are like, well, no, that's not true. These guys are just, but the other side is just pure evil. No, wrong. Please stop doing that. Please stop being stupid. They're both in on it. Get your head out of your freaking ass is what you got to do. And you have to realize there is no spoon. I said this last night. I was in a meeting last night, said the same thing last night. You have to realize that there is no spoon in order to start figuring this stuff out. What that means is you have to know, not think, but know that the Republicans and the Democrats are in it together. That they are doing it together. Not the people down, not the grassroots. This is the leadership. This is all the elected officials up there. They are in it together. They go on TV and yell and scream at one another and make it look like there's two different sides to this crap. But when they get done with it and they're behind closed doors, they're palling around, they're buddying around, they're having dinner with one another. They don't hate each other.
Well, and Roger Stone said this week. Roger Stone, who is looking at running for the U.S. Senate in Florida as a libertarian, actually, and this guy knows he was there. Worked for Reagan, worked for Nixon. I mean, he was up there. He saw it.
He was a GOP operative.
He was
for
a GOP
years.
operative for a long time, and he said it.
It was a good one.
Yeah. And he said it. These guys make a big show on CNN. They make a big show on MSNBC. They fight it out. And then afterwards, slap each other on the back and go out to dinner and have drinks together. There is no big animosity towards these two. It's all for show. We see the same thing happen in Tallahassee where if you go to a legislator in one party and talk bad about the other party, they will stop you and say, wait a minute, you're talking about my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Danielle knows how that happened. She's seen it firsthand. Not secondhand, not thirdhand, not I heard a story about a guy, nothing. Firsthand eyewitness to what she just said. Again, there is no spoon. There is no Democrats and Republicans being separate. Look, do you know why they fight on TV? Do you know why, at the end of the day, they actually fight on TV? They do it for one reason. Because they want you down there fighting. They don't want you talking. They want you fighting. They want you hating the other side. They want you to think that the Democrats that are up and down the street, Democrats are a bunch of commie socialists. The Democrats, they want you to think that the Republicans want you to, they're going to kill grandma and they're going to kill everybody and they love the major corporations and that's what they're all about. In all reality, both sides love the major corporations and they hate the grassroots. They hate small businesses. They hate people that want to be independent and free. And they hate people that won't fall the fucking line. That's what they hate. They hate those people. That's why they hate libertarians. Because libertarians don't fall in line. Libertarians don't want to fall in line. Libertarians are anti-corporatists, which is why the saying that we're the corporatists. The problem there is this. If we were the corporatists, then they'd give us money. The corporations give us zero. No money. You know why? Because we would never do their bidding. The Koch brothers are not part of the LP. You want to know why? We wouldn't do their bidding. Big money donors don't come to the LP. You know why? We don't do their bidding. That's the truth. And I know that you can go, well, that's why we got to try to work through the Republicans, and we got to try to work through the Democrats, and try to change it from above, and change it from the inside. We got to do this because... No, crap. No, you don't have to. You know why you don't have to? Because you're working within them gives them power. It gives them power. Look, we can make little small changes here and there on some of this stuff, and I'll give you that. But I'll tell you this right now. The people in Tallahassee fear the Republicans that come up there and tell them they got to change, or the Democrats that come up there and tell them they got to change. They're afraid of the libertarians that come up there and say what you're doing is wrong. Because those people walk on eggshells when we're walking into a room. That's the truth. That's gospel. You want to pray on something on Sunday? You pray on that on Sunday. I'm pissed, man. I'm pissed. After everything we've seen this week, look, I was at a meeting last night. I got to mention this story a little bit. I was at a meeting last night. I'm not going to mention anybody's name or anything like that.
You don't want
it's a guy actually
because you like him.
I like the guy. He goes up there. He gives the story about how bad things are, and he was pretty spot on with a lot of the stuff he was saying. He went pretty far down the rabbit hole. And then at the end of it, he talked about how there's only two groups up there. You have the Republican crime syndicate and the Democrat crime syndicate. I'm laughing. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Somebody asked him at the end what party he belonged to. He said he was a Republican. Well, I'm a Republican because I got to get into groups. I got to go and speak in groups. Okay. Here's the thing.
Which is not even a little bit true.
Well, let me say it this way. It is, in some aspects, it is true. In some aspects, it's not true. It does depend on the club. Because some of the clubs do have that where they actually stick to that. And some clubs, if they
Not
don't...
many. They
No, but some
normally will
clubs
take
do
a
it, don't ask,
nonpartisan.
don't. But normally it's a don't ask, don't tell kind of thing with some of it. That does sound kind of funny.
It's hilarious to use "don't ask, don't tell" talking about Republican clubs.
Well, no, they take... Well, look, when it comes... Some of them let us in there, though. They let libertarians in there. But I kind of went off on
Because
this
it
guy.
only feels kinky the first time.
It does only feel kinky the first time. Actually, I think it still feels kinky the second time. I think they like it to feel kinky, though, to be honest with you. But that's just me. They got to stop, though. Look, these people have These people have influence over others. They're good speakers. They're not bad speakers. They're speaking. What he did was good. Get out, man. Get out. Maybe you don't go libertarian all the way right off the bat. Maybe you go MPA. I'm fine with that. But get out, though, man. You got to get out, and you got to get out right now. We need to be able to get rid of all the Democrats and all the Republicans. We need to get all those people out of those two parties. Leave them down to nothing. Because if you do that, then you can actually start getting people victories. When everybody's registered in one party or the other, it's a problem. You know, and you hear this, well, I won't be able to vote in the primaries. Hey, look, you can vote in the primaries that matter. All right? It doesn't really matter on the other primary anyway. If they get the other guy elected, like he's going to do anything different. Exhibit A, Ted Yoho.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, what do you care? Ted Yoho. That's what happens. Bill Arakis, locally here. David Jolly, locally here. But the one guy that's bucking the system, which I got, you know what? I'm sorry, we have a libertarian in this race that's against him, and I shouldn't speak well of the man, but my honesty forbids me from not doing it, is Ted Nugent. Oh, no. Richard Nugent. I would never speak well of the draft dodging. I'll piss in my pants to get out of military service. Ted Nugent, by the way, who's
It's
a coward.
Richard.
Just for the record, Ted Nugent's a coward. But let's go into something else.
Richard Nugent.
Yeah, and hold on. And if you're a supporter of the military and a supporter of the Second Amendment, you shouldn't like Ted Nugent, by the way. You have to look at that man's history to understand why you shouldn't like him. But let's get to Richard Nugent. The Nuge, dude is bucking the system.
A lot lately.
A lot. So much so, he's losing appointments. He's basically an outcast.
He's
at this
getting
point.
really reprimanded up there.
Yeah, really reprimanded.
Like, no, wait, dude, you came up here and you were like working with us. Like, what happened?
So I got to give the credit to that man. Honestly, I literally want to go to an event that he's holding and just go there and shake his hand. Because in all honesty, we don't agree on every issue, but that man's standing up for what he thinks is right, and I think he's really doing a pretty decent job.
I actually think that his voting record has been much better lately than it was when he first got there. And there were times when we would be surprised over his voting record, but then we'd get like the email, and he made the right vote for the total wrong reasons.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
For a couple of years, I was like, oh yeah, all right, he voted good, and then it was like, oh no, that was wow, wrong.
He voted the right way by mistake.
Yeah. There's a couple votes where we look at the reason, we're like,
Oh.
what?
But
How did you even get there?
but now because he's still, and we're on his email list, and we'll be moving back into his district actually. But now when I'm on his email list and I see the reasons, like he's actually doing it for the right reason.
Yeah, I don't know who's talking to him, but somebody's talking to him.
Somebody's in his ear.
And I'd like to congratulate that person because it's effective.
And we know his assistant, he's not such a bad guy.
Yeah, matter of fact, you know what? Remind me to give that office a call today.
Yeah.
Let's call that dude today.
All right.
I'm going to call that dude today. Still go Schnackenberg, but, whatever. So, back to the Trans-Pacific Partnership, though. Look, man, and the documents have been leaked out on this crap. This is sovereignty killing. And when we say sovereignty killing, it's the corporations through an international tribunal are going to be in charge of a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. This is the wrong way to go. And again, here's the other thing. This is not free trade against anti-free trade. Like the Trans-Pacific Partnership supporters are not free traders, and the ones that are against it are not necessarily anti-free traders, because the Trans-Pacific Partnership is not a free trade agreement.
No.
You could call it that, but it's wrong. It's a lie.
You'd be
You know?
completely like liar, pants on
Like,
fire
I can
on
call
the
this-
truth-o-meter.
Yeah.
You can call a bulldozer a spatula. That doesn't mean you can make pancakes
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah. I can call this, Asti Spumante. Doesn't make it sour. All right. Doesn't make it so at all. It's Red Bull. All right. But I can call it whatever I want. Just like these scumbag Republicans and scumbag Democrats want to call this thing free trade. It has nothing to do with free trade at all. It has to do with more sovereignty killing legislation that's going up there in Tallahassee or in Washington. And the other thing is this, and I've seen some people say this. Well, you just don't support the free trade agreement because you're a racist. I've seen that. I've seen it. It's like, well, if you don't support this, you're racist. Can you please put the racism hammer down?
Like-
Put it back in
every
the
once
deck,
in a while?
dude.
Like racism against who? Goldman Sachs or Pfizer? Because that's the people that are going to benefit. Procter and Gamble, Goldman Sachs, Pfizer. I mean, like, what?
Yeah, the big multinational conglomerates. That's the people that are going to,
Monsanto.
if anything, it's going to hurt. Look, employment, and there's one grouping of people in this country that's hurting the most when it comes to employment, and that's black people.
Wait, weren't the D.C. Republicans on board before the D.C. Democrats were?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And aren't the D.C. Republicans supposed to be the racist ones?
Yes.
Okay. But if you don't support this, then you're the racist. So were Democrats racist before they were for it? I don't understand.
Need a whole flow chart. It would be
Yeah.
very difficult.
Yeah, can we figure out the Venn diagram for this? Because somewhere everything crosses, and I think that in the middle everybody's racist.
And you're racist. It's like do you remember that South Park episode when he's tried to when I think it was Stan brought in the money and to invest. And then it was all gone, like instantly, and it's all gone. I think that's what happens. It's like, so I'm a supporter of this initiative, or I oppose this one, and you're racist. Like they have no other argument. Look, here's the thing: when somebody just comes right out and says you're racist over something like the Trans-Pacific Partnership, you have to realize a couple things. One, the person that's saying it to you has no working knowledge of what the partnership even means. Two, they actually aren't smart, if they have read it, to even figure out what the fuck it's going to do, for two. So these people are moronic. So instead of actually trying to educate themselves and figure this stuff out, they are going to go down just with pick up their racist hammer that's sitting right there and go racist, 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 racist. That's what they're going to do because they're freaking morons. I'm fired up today. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm a little fired up today.
I couldn't tell.
I'm a little fired up. But let me just say this. I am sick and tired of people that are not willing to engage in an honest discussion of these issues and that for some reason have this weird thought that Obama is somehow on their side. And again, you got to remember this. If you've listened to this show, you've never heard us go into a whole lot of different stuff about Obama. All of our arguments with this guy are all issue-based stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't care if he's white or black or green or brown or red or purple with 8 polka dots on him or
Only
whatever.
8. Are you racist against polka dots?
I'm a little racist against polka dots. I like polka dots, by the way.
You're numerous.
Yeah. I don't care what color Barack Obama is because, like Martin Luther King, I look at the content of somebody's character, not the color of their skin. Mer. The problem here is that nobody else is willing to do that. And you're right. There are some people on the left or some people on the right that do just hate Obama because he's black. It's a very small number, but it's there. Just like there's some people on the right or some people on the left that hate, or some black people that hate white people for no other reason than they're white. Racism happens in the world, people. It's there. It's racism doesn't even go away until we have somebody new to hate, like aliens. When aliens come, and I'm not talking about the illegal aliens that people wanted to dandy
I was
verify.
going to say, but you're going
I'm
down
talking about
bad
aliens from
slope
another. I'm talking about aliens from another planet. As soon as aliens come from another planet, humanity will get. Won't be any more racism. There'll still be a little bit of racism, but it'll be very, very small. But we'll all be able to collectively hate the aliens.
Well, the thing is, if Will Smith does lead the charge against the aliens, that will kill racism.
That is true.
That's a good freaking point, by the way.
He punches him in the face and says, "Welcome to Earth," and he's the new president.
That's it.
Earth? Did you say Earth? That's racist, by the way. You're racist for saying Earth. That's BS, Greg. I really thought better of you for what you're doing. So,
Yeah, I'm the problem. When they want to take everybody's job away and put them in program. Here's your retraining. Repeat after me. Would you like that in a pump or a loafer? Yeah, I'm the problem.
You actually went one step above. A pump or loafer is much better. Fries with that?
yeah, but that job's going away.
Yeah, see, that's why I didn't use that, because robots are getting that job.
Yeah. The pumper loafer part's the only one we're going to be able to have left. Be a bunch of damn Ted Bundys. Is it Ted Bundy?
Al Bundy.
Al Bundy. Boy, I've got this all.
Ted Bundy, serial killer.
He's trying to get the...
Al Bundy, shoe salesman.
He's seen the promo for the new Ted movie too many times because he's giving everybody the Ted first name.
Oh God, the intro to that movie, because I like Law and Order, so like I watch Law and Order, and to see that whole little we got some Law and Order. That alone, I'm gonna have to watch that movie. Just that alone, and I'm not even a big Seth MacFarlane guy. Like I don't even like the guy technically, but I gotta watch this one though. It's really gonna be funny. I think. Okay, way off subject there.
Everybody's Ted.
Everybody's Ted. You know, I else.
Okay.
Just saying. For good reason. All right. So, and by the way, in the presidential sweepstake that's going on right now, it was the Rubio that cast the deciding vote in the 60 votes needed for TPP to pass.
For the fast track to pass.
For the fast track to pass. Yeah, you're right. For the fast track to pass.
Because we don't even get to decide on TPP anymore. That's all Obama, because they gave him all their authority.
So Marco Rubio went ahead and became that 60th vote that's on there.
And he says he didn't read it first.
Well,
Why would he?
There's conflicting reports on that now. So they're saying that he did read it, then they're saying that he didn't read it, then he pushes back on it or whatever. It doesn't matter, Florida. You deserve what you got because you voted for him.
Apparently, they didn't print him a copy in Cuban.
Should have voted for Snicker. You know, should have voted for Snicker on that one, guys. Should have voted for Snicker. Actually, when that one came out earlier this week, I actually ended up putting out a meme. Not a meme. I put out a hashtag that said should have voted for Snicker.
See, anytime a Rubio article I ever posted, I actually use the hashtag "Don't blame me. I voted Snicker."
I'm going to start doing that more often now because I'm starting to use Twitter a lot more. I mean, I really am starting to use Twitter a lot more, which is kind of nice. So
it's kind of nice for Alex. It is not nice for anyone else in the vicinity of Alex, as he has to update you consistently on how many Twitter followers he has.
I know.
So we go on vacation last weekend and just go away for the weekend, and he'd be like, I got to tell you guys something. And I don't know how you're going to take it. And we'd be like, what? What's going on? What happened? And he'd be like, I have 453 followers.
And it's so funny because Twitter's like on its way out. Like I listened last night on the Nikki Sixx radio show on 98 Rock. David Draymond, the lead singer of Disturbed, talking about how he's not doing Twitter ever again, and like more and more people I'm seeing all the time dropping out of Twitter. And now Alex is like, "Hey, I got 143 followers." It's like, yeah, everybody's quitting Twitter, dude. We're moving on to the next thing.
No, Twitter's not going away. By the way, Twitter.
Are you saving it?
Yeah.
No, I'm not saving it. But I'm telling you what, though, it's not going away though. Twitter is actually. Look, I never really used Twitter a lot, but I'm starting to understand why people use Twitter, and it's not going away.
I don't think it's going to go away. I just think that it's one of those things that's going to ultimately phase out. Just like MySpace was the most popular thing at one point, Yahoo groups and all that stuff. There's phases, and I don't think Twitter's ever going to not exist. At least not within like the short time span, but. Ultimately, something new is going to come along.
I'm waiting for something new to come replace Facebook. I'd really like that.
I've tried some of the other ones, and they don't do it. I would have went to Google Plus, except it's like talking in an empty room. I mean, nobody went to Google Plus, and it's like, well,
And I actually like the platform better.
I do. I really like it. I think it's very intuitive and very easy, and I liked it a lot. But like, nobody's there.
You know what? I hate to be the one to defend Facebook here. This sucks. I like Facebook. I like the way it works. I like the way it operates. I like the ease of use of it, and everybody's on it.
Well, you like it because everybody's on it.
Yeah, but everybody's on it because of all the other stuff, though.
It's like a New York subway. It gets you where you're going, but it smells like piss the whole time.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Oh, by the way, $5.92. Just put it out there. And if you want to follow me, it's at ALEXSNITKER if you want to follow me.
To follow the official Alex, none of the fake Alexes out there.
Yeah, this is the real deal, Alex. You know what I'm saying? Like this is real. This is the real one.
The thing is, it doesn't on Twitter. It doesn't matter how many followers you have. You're not popular until you have at least one person imitating you on Twitter.
Well, we'll see what happens. Greg, hook that up, man. I follow all kinds of people too, by the way.
I'm gonna go make one the real Alex Snicker.
Are you really gonna do that? Because that's not cool if you do that. That's not cool at all.
Because then he'll have to Twitter you and be like, "No, I'm the real."
And Greg's gonna be like, "No, you're not. I'm the real Alex Snicker."
I'm gonna follow Alex as the real Alex Snicker.
Oh, that would be cool. Because I have like 5 accounts, so you know.
No, only one that's his actual account.
Well, yeah, that's true. There's only one that's my actual account, but I have a bunch of other accounts too, though. So 1787 Network's got a lot of followers.
Yeah, I know. We have a lot.
Yeah, we have a lot of followers there. We're in like the 6,000 range, I think. So I'm sure you don't give a shit, but
I know everybody's just stuck to their YouTube.
All right, the last thing about this hour though, we need to get into this part too, and this is, and I already went on the rant, so I kind of feel weird going back to this part, but the Boehners,
the boner,
that up there, that we talked about the Nugent thing, but Nugent's not the only guy that they're messing with. They're messing with people all over the place. That if you are breaking ranks with the Republicans and you're a Republican representative, they're removing you from chairmanships and removing you from all this stuff. Is that if you're not falling in line, you're going to be in trouble. Back off. They Jason Chaffetz,
Yeah.
who I actually had a lot more respect for. Like I thought he was actually a good guy. I didn't realize like what a scumbag this guy is, by the way.
Well, he did reinstate the guy.
Well, but he's the one that removed him, though.
Well, yeah.
The only reason he reinstated the guy was because they're catching so much heat now because of it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll give him back this one, and then that's all right. But that's what they did, though, is they're removing people for not voting correctly. Now, part of it, though, I think is also that you know how you have like procedural votes and then you have the actual votes? Mm-hmm. I think they're getting mad because they're not falling in line with the procedural votes.
Right.
And not necessarily the actual vote itself. Which I don't necessarily I don't agree with them doing that, but I do understand that there's a difference between a procedural vote and between the actual vote itself.
Right.
Does that make sense what I'm saying right
well,
now?
no. I mean, there is a difference.
It doesn't make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it does and it doesn't, because sometimes the procedural vote is the more important vote.
Explain.
Well, because sometimes it's the procedural vote that is actually going to define how you can vote on the other. So sometimes the procedural vote is actually basically like everything gets two votes. And the procedural vote is generally is not always the more important vote, but sometimes it is the more important vote. Is that you're giving you're giving the authority to one of these committees or something like that, or you're giving authority to the speaker to rectify an issue, and it's those votes that sometimes will decide how you end up with the next piece of legislation. So sometimes it's the procedural vote that defines the next thing that is the actual issue at hand. So sometimes that vote is more important, and when these guys don't fall in line, it changes drastically what the speaker and what leadership can do with the actual issue.
But a lot of times these procedural votes are used to stop the ability to debate.
Yes.
This is where I have a little bit of an issue. I like things to go to an up or down vote to be able to do this, and the procedure votes that stop these things from being able to be discussed, I think it's kind of bad form to do that. Mm-hmm. So in one aspect, I kind of understand what they're talking about when it comes to procedural votes.
But sometimes there's certain things that you have to discuss it for a certain amount of time before it can come up for vote. So when they stop the discussion, they actually block the issue from moving forward, which is if it's an issue that they know we need more time to get the people calling their representatives, what they're doing is stopping the debate so that the issue can't come up to vote so that the people have more time to influence the legislators.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what's pissing off leadership. Because now all of a sudden they get thousands upon thousands of phone calls that they wouldn't have gotten had the debate just been able to continue.
Yeah. Yeah. Weird. Just weird stuff. But it was nice to see that the pushback is happening. And look, anything to keep madness going on right now is probably a good thing, not a bad thing. Which, probably we should be doing. But let's go ahead and we'll take a break here real quick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's time, in case you didn't know, Mr. Producer.
I got 2 minutes on both my clocks, but that's fine. We can take it out.
We can take a break. It ain't hardcore on that. I'm so angry right now, I want a cigarette.
Yeah, that's fine.
I want a cigarette, so let's go ahead and take a break. We'll be back. You're listening to Liberty Underground.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driver is restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back to Liberty Underground Show, 1787 Radio Network. 1787network.com is the website. 1787network.com. Juno,
I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna the next time you do a voice, I'm just gonna walk out.
oh, come on. Come on, you can't do that.
Well, I can.
Well, technically you can, but you shouldn't, though. You shouldn't do that, man. Come on.
You shouldn't do the voices when you know it's just gonna bother me.
Look, if I only do it a little bit, though, if I do little jabs here and there, though, that should be okay.
Just the tip.
Just to see how it feels.
I'm waiting to see the Supreme Court decisions for today.
Oh, are they putting more out today?
Yeah, they should. They actually should come out any time now.
Well, we should really talk about that, too, shouldn't we?
Well, yeah. Well, a lot of decisions have already come out. They're actually, there's a lot that nobody hears about. So I think in all there was about 12 decisions completely that are coming out within they started looking at them basically for this year. But there's quite a bit that we don't even hear about. But of course we heard the big one about Obamacare yesterday.
Yeah.
Is that it was upheld. So the subsidies basically are constitutional.
Well, go into what can you go into what was this about?
Well, there was, and I didn't get into a lot of it, so I didn't really read it. If you know it, you go ahead and do it, because in all honesty, I knew what the decision was going to be as soon as I saw the subject, so I didn't really look into it.
Oh, okay. So here's what the deal was. There were states that set up exchanges, and then there were states that didn't set up exchanges. The subsidies for the states that set up exchanges were within the realm of the law. But the federal government couldn't directly do the subsidies, so the places that didn't do state exchanges, and the people in those states that went to the federal government and got the subsidies from the federal government, that wasn't within the law. Mm-hmm. And so the argument is that those subsidies aren't constitutional. They weren't allowed to do that. And so the whole case was about that. What the Supreme Court basically said is that no, they are allowed to do that, because and again, I don't think that there's an actual rationale behind it, though. But they're basically saying that the word didn't mean what it meant, and that you really were allowed to do it, and that's what Roberts and them. It was a 6-3 decision, and Roberts and them basically said that they can do that.
When I had originally seen it, and this is why I didn't look into it a whole lot, is because basically what the question was and what they publicized the question as is, can the subsidies be in the states where, they're not doing the exchanges? And without reading through the law, and knowing what the court's decision were on other things, I pretty much figured that they were going to side on the fact that these are given through the federal income tax as tax credits, and that's why they would keep allowing them. And from what I understand, that is kind of basically how their decision went.
Yeah. That's pretty much what happened. And look, here's the thing. Look, I don't think that you're going to get first. Whether you put up whether Republicans are putting up these justices or Democrats are putting up these justices, look, these are people that were, John Roberts was selected by Republicans. Bush put him up there. So you have a Bush appointee that's doing this. So whether they put up Democrats or Republicans is inconsequential. They're still putting up bad people for these Supreme Court positions. What we really need people. The next person they put up on the Supreme Court should be Judge Andrew Napolitano.
Yeah.
The next one after that should be Judge Jim Gray.
Those would be great appointments, actually.
Yeah.
I would love to see Judge Gray on the Supreme Court. I think he'd be amazing.
Yeah, Gray and Napolitano should be the next two that go up there. We want to add some sanity back to what's going on up there, you should add that. But look, the courts aren't going to fix this problem for us, man. It's just the way it is, man. The courts aren't fixing this crap. The only people who are going to fix this crap is if you get the right people elected and have them pass the correct solution to these problems, not worrying about whether the Supreme Court's going to save your ass or not. So, but on the phone with us right now is the owner of one of the owners of the Global Dispatch, theglobaldispatch.com, Brandon. Brandon, how are you doing, sir?
I'm very blessed. How's everyone?
Doing very well, man. It's nice to hear your voice this week.
How was your vacation?
It was a wonderful time, a great escape from all of the doldrums of doing what we do. So very, very grateful to have that opportunity.
That's good to hear, man. All right, now there's a lot that's going on out there that happened this week. Give us your number one of what you think we should be talking about.
Should be talking about?
Yeah,
probably the fact that there's about a whole bunch of Obama aides and former NSA and military and whatever who are like have joined together to write a letter to the Obama administration to go, please don't sign the Iranian deal. This is a lose-lose-lose. But that won't make the press.
Now, can you give a little background on this one?
Well, I mean, I think just when you look at the Iranian deal, the America's giving up everything. The Iranians have nothing to lose. It just doesn't make any sense. If you're trying to say that you don't want them to have a weapon that can, blow up the Middle East, then don't sign this deal, because it doesn't do anything to prevent them from moving forward. It doesn't do anything to help curb their desire to take the program, with a quick shift to the left. And, you've got four aides. You've even got, you've got everyone from even Jeb Bush and Petraeus' names on this thing, and just says, please don't sign this deal. Don't do it. So Kerry's on his way over to Switzerland as they're going to meet I guess it's Friday, so they're probably meeting as we speak or have wrapped up, or, it's just something it's not making the radar screen. Everybody's too worried about Confederate flags and SCOTUS care.
And SCOTUS care.
Oh, yeah.
I like it. SCOTUS care.
Obama doesn't own it anymore.
Yes. Yeah, they moved to the Supreme Court.
Well, that was Justice Scalia's remarks. I can't take credit for that, but I thought that was just so utterly brilliant. He's like, I can't believe that we've gotten to this place where, and I'm sorry to change topics on us here, but with the interpretation of the subsidies, Roberts is writing a justification of intent. Again, it's like, this is what it's intended to do. It's like, well, that's not your job. Your job is to read it for what it says, and he's reading into that. And Scalia was just appalled and called it SCOTUS care just to get some laughs. And I think it's a brilliant situation, because if they had not had two hearings of interpretation of not actually what it says, but what they think it means, we wouldn't be looking at this.
No, you're right about that. I really do think that if we could go down the wild conspiracy theory road for a second, that they do have naked pictures of John Roberts. That somebody has naked pictures of John Roberts, and that they are using it to blackmail this man. What do you think about that, Brandon? Is there any possibility of that?
You're not going to get me to speak on naked pictures of anyone.
I understand, Brandon. I understand. I appreciate your honesty in that one, at least. Now, you did speak a little bit about this, that for the flag, you are looking at this as just a distraction.
Well, I don't think there's any other way around it. I mean, I actually did an interview and immediately after the shooting and upset the Liberal because we weren't talking about anything that was relevant to, first it was gun control. The first 48 hours was the radical Sandy Hook gun grabbing sort of response. And now it's shifted into, let's take down the flags. Let's ban Dukes of Hazzard toys. Let's, a knee-jerk reaction of just an insane response and not having any healthy dialogue about anything useful. It really just show, this is where we are. Media will control whatever can get them headlines, hits, and ratings. And the flag does a very emotional topic. It means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but for the black community, it has been preached so often that it is a symbol of hate, it is a symbol of slavery, it is a symbol of oppression, it is a symbol of these things, so it really does not make a difference. It is not up for dialogue and discussion. It doesn't matter about history. It doesn't matter about when the flag was actually waved or used or anything like that. So that's kind of where we are. I think that sometimes the truth doesn't matter if the response to you can't overcome it. And I think that's where we are with society.
Yeah. Good point. Brandon bringing a little sensibilities to the program. We always appreciate it when he does that. Now
Somebody's got
to do it.
Well, do you guys disagree with me on
I'm with you.
Of the flag?
I'm with you. Now, I'm with you. Danielle's probably not all the way with you, but she's kind of with you on what you said. You actually probably put together a statement there that everybody on the show can agree on, even though in the first hour we kind of had a little bit of a back and forth about the issue, but it was about different aspects of it. But you kind of, put it all together in a good way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So now the other thing is that we wanted to talk to you about too is, and I know this was on your radar. So the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
What's your thoughts on this whole thing?
Oh, it's a great bill for Pfizer. You should be investing in Pfizer stock. You should, ramp up some, Goldman Sachs investments. You should really make sure you look really strong at your stock portfolio, because this is the best that money can buy.
Exactly. The best that money can buy is that to watch these people actually get paid a lot of money in campaign contributions to make sure that this thing passed, and then to have the nerve to come out there and talk about how, well, if you're against this, then you're against trade, is laughable at best.
And I think that the week you guys weren't there and Greg hosted the show, we talked for a full hour. And during the show, I talked about how I think one of the problems with trade is we're so upside down that there is no discouragement for the foreign entity to make stuff in their country because we ship it over here. So there's no penalty for China to make a DVD player cheaper than making it in the U.S. So this trade agreement actually just opens that door up even more so. Mm-hmm. So if there wasn't a global economy, if there wasn't sort of like there's no barriers, they can do whatever they want, the way the money will flow, this actually opens it up yet even more so. So if you think that you haven't heard the last of jobs being shipped overseas, guess what? Expect that cycle to come back around as well, because this just makes it easier for an office in Germany to make Pfizer pills cheaper, and that factory can crank them out better and cheaper than Americans can, and therefore it's best for that business, and there'll be no penalty when they have to ship them and bring them back home. So this just reeks of crony capitalism.
Well, not only that, though, but they had, the other thing that was under contention was the bill that would be there for the assistance to people when they do lose their job. Like, so the politicians can't make the claim that they didn't know this was going to cost American jobs. There's a bill to try to take care of that.
Well, right, it's like a welfare clause, basically, to say, oh, well, you're going to claim that you've lost your job. I'm not sure how all that's going to be sorted out, by the way. That's a little bit gray. At least maybe I didn't read the right section that kind of explained that to me. But it just sounds like another way to get people on the dole. It's another way to get people sort of allegiant to, the government supporting you. So as long as this moves that down the way, that actually brought on more voters and more supporters.
Yeah, no, that's true. Absolutely true. What else is going on out there, Brandon, that is really kind of that you're looking at out there?
Well, I would note that, Pastor Saeed is the Christian pastor that's been jailed in Iran now. He crossed his 1,000th day in Iranian jail, which, again, when we have our Secretary of State headed across the pond to discuss a nuclear program, as I've said many times, I would not step into the room and have a conversation if the American is still in jail. So I don't know if you want to bring him into the other side door or if you just want to make a couple phone calls, but I wouldn't go in the room with you until you actually let him out of jail. It's absolutely insane. So that was a story that actually did very well for us early in the week.
And I don't understand why they're not even bringing this up, especially because because the Obama administration just said that their first and foremost concern is to get people home safely, but that just seems like a big lie considering that they're not even talking about this guy.
Especially because of the photo opportunity with this. Now, it's so huge in evangelical circles that you would think that the photo op alone of Obama standing next to this guy, and like I said, if it doesn't happen soon, I wouldn't be surprised if we see it. Like if Hillary has any sort of like lag, like she starts to, the Bernie Sanders numbers are already like at 30%, so we're only at 30% socialist. But if it gets into the 40s, maybe she brokers the deal to get this guy out of prison, takes a couple photos with him, because it will be an interesting shot in the arm for the evangelical community. And if her picture is next to this guy, right out of Iranian jail, that kind of throws a whole lot of poo into the fan, so to speak.
A whole lot of poo into the fan. So, no, you're absolutely right about that. You're 100% right. Look, one thing we didn't bring up this week on the show, but I wanted to bring up right now is, have you heard this story out of Jacksonville, Brandon? You may not have. So I'll lay it all out for you before you comment, though. In Jacksonville, the city council is considering making a law that would make it illegal for you to park in your driveway, for you to back into your driveway, that you would have to park with the tag facing the street, and if you didn't, then you would have a $50 fine. It would be a $50 fine
each time you did it.
Each time you did it, per day, until you fixed it. And that the reason that they're claiming that they're going to be doing this, and it's already passed some committees in the city of Jacksonville, but the reason that they're doing this is because that there's a lot of urban blight that's up there. There's a lot of crappy, a lot of crappy areas up there, and that they're blaming the cars for the crappy areas that people put in their cars and stuff like that.
Well, they're saying that they're abandoned, that they're trying to crack down on abandoned cars.
Yeah, on abandoned cars.
But I would think if it's parked in someone's driveway, it's not abandoned.
Yeah, well, why try to mix some common sense in this, Danielle? You know better than that. But the city council is seriously considering doing this. And I think my question, and again, I'm probably speaking to the choir on this. I know I am, but where do these people even get off thinking that they should be allowed to even make this rule?
Well, unless there's a pushback to say no, I don't know why they won't try. It actually is one of those that kind of catches you off guard, because it's not something that in our normal common sense day-to-day lives we would think about trying to do. But if they can somehow condition the public to line up their license plate for license plates, readers, and everything else, it just makes it easier for them to monitor, to track, to know what's what. So they can try to spin it however they want with the abandoned vehicle argument, but reality is, you're increasing your revenue just by having some sort of, ridiculous sort of fictitious law that kind of says, you can't back in your own driveway. But also, it's very nice to have license plates, readers, and you can just drive through a neighborhood. Everybody can get all scanned and checked and whatever. Oh, look, that one's expired. Let me stop and write a ticket. I'm going to take care of that real quick. And then, oh, this guy's a felon. I got a warrant on him. That sped that along. I don't have to have cause. Now I have cause, so I can go in here and take care of that. So it really is a slippery slope of us giving up our freedoms. And again, as I said, it catches many people off guard because you kind of scratch your head more than realize that they're actually serious about these things.
Well, here's my other question to you. Isn't this a constitutional violation? Like, you own your land, you own the vehicle, you have your Fourth Amendment right to be secure in your papers, properties, and effects.
Sure.
That if you're on your own, if you're on the side of the road,
then they should be able to see your license plate because you're on the side of the road.
Which they could do anyway.
Right.
But once you're in your property, though, doesn't that change? Isn't that a violation?
Of course it is, because they shouldn't be able to get any identifying information unless there's probable cause that someone on the property is committing a crime. So no, they shouldn't be able to do this. It shouldn't, and I say this, it shouldn't hold up in court. It shouldn't do a lot of things. Their whole, well, we're doing it for safety, we're doing it for this. The reason why people back in so much in Jacksonville is because there's a lot of street parking, and if you back in, you can pull out without hitting people easier. So you're going to have a huge safety issue when you start forcing people to park in the other way, and so you're going to have more accidents. There's no good reason for this except you want to write tickets. I mean, it's completely revenue generation.
Yeah, Brandon?
Well, I agree with all that, and then even more so, even if it doesn't hold up in court, even if it is just insane and it gets thrown out of court at some point, let's say that takes a year, that means that for a year they have written these tickets, gathered that revenue, and more importantly, gathered the information. They know who lives where. They've got even more sort of confirmation on. And again, the other thing too, and I hate to sound very conspiratorial here, guys, but whenever the technology is being driven towards tracking everyone's movements, these incredible technologies where they can digitally look at license plates and predict traffic patterns and all these kinds of things. This is just another one of those moves in that direction where someone's lining their pockets with a piece of technology, a different thing here that we're not even privy to, that will come out probably a year or so down the road. And each time this happens, even when they get thrown out of court, no one ever goes back to the government and makes them shred all these documents, purge all these files. That never ever happens, and they just kind of continue to move forward to the next ridiculous project.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I think the part here that offends me the most is that this is even a discussion. That there is such a lack of respect for private property, even within a local government. I know we talk about it on the federal level, and they're far removed from it, so I think in some ways it's easier for them to be able to make stupid rules that everybody has to follow. State level, even still, Florida's big state, 18 million people, so still you're a little bit further removed. This is the city of Jacksonville. This is the city council in the city of Jacksonville looking to make this move. I can't believe that at this level that these guys are so just non-caring about individual rights and about the privacy of people, that they're so uncaring about that they're even willing to contemplate something like this. Like, I think that's the part I'm most offended by. Like, you don't even understand how wrong you are for wanting to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And
Is there a ban on garage sort of like rider on this bill?
well, here's the thing, though. I haven't seen anything about that, but I got to tell you, though, that's got to have to be part. I mean, the natural conclusion is that, well, what if you park in your garage and people can't see it? Then they're going to say, well, if you're going to park in your garage, you got to leave the door open, or you got to to it. Like, you got to be able to just put in a code to where those people can just open and close to be able to check your tag. And you have to pull into you can't back into your garage. You have to pull into it. Like, that's...
Because if you can get them to admit that that's your property, that you own the garage, therefore that's not an abandoned vehicle, then you can go, okay, so you're prejudiced against me because I can't afford a garage. I see how it is. So it's about me being poor. You hate the poor. That's how I would fight it in court to their face.
Or because you're rich enough to have two vehicles and one of them's already in the garage. I mean, either way, you can argue. You know, it's going to be argued either way.
Hold on, let me get my deck. I bet there's a race card I can play here.
Hold on. Oh no, Greg's out there looking for the race card. All right.
Well, no, I mean, and that's the thing is why, if you're saying, obviously someone can park in their garage at this point and be okay, but their driveway, all of a sudden it could be an abandoned vehicle, and that's just not right. And I think when you look at cities doing this, is that they pretty much figure that nobody is paying attention, so they can kind of get away with these things and write a couple, and anyone who's doing it is going to get written a ticket, and they're not really going to tell anyone. They're just going to pay the ticket and go, oh, I won't do that again. And they play on this apathetic public and figure, well, I can just do whatever I want.
Yeah. Well, hold on, though. Good job on the Wiley. Go ahead.
Well, I would just like to point out that this isn't necessarily a new law. There are other local municipalities that have these laws on the books. It's my understanding that statewide, you're not allowed to back into public parking spaces.
Public parking. That is different.
Right.
It's public parking
Right,
only.
right. And I am making that distinction. Statewide, you're not allowed to back in public spaces. There are some municipalities that have already made it illegal to back into your driveway as well. And so this is not really new. So it somehow it got in the news cycle and it got on people's radar. But it's not like Jacksonville is the first ones to do this.
Yeah, but you're racist, Greg, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, that's right. Hold on. Let me find my deck. Let me see if I can play something else.
No.
Go fish.
And the article that Adrian sent over, which I understand, we've talked about like 3 or 4 times because it's from April.
No, you're right. We talked about it, but you want to put it in context of everything else, though. Is that how? Look, here's the thing: the city of Jacksonville. I got some bad news for you. So I got some really bad news. You do have authoritarian psychopaths in charge. They are completely in charge up in the city of Jacksonville. There's no getting around that. They are literally putting up streetlights that will listen to you. That's the other part, because Jacksonville debuted the high-tech streetlights, and those things can hear you, can watch you. I even think they can smell you. Like, I even think it's got a smell capability.
There's an app for that.
There's an app for that. So
There actually is an app for those streetlights.
now, Brandon, are you going to now start just backing into every space that you go into now?
I'm going to park diagonally so that way I'm compliant, but I'm still creating a hassle for someone else.
That's good.
He's taking on troll parking.
Hey, from now, I got to tell you, now that I've seen this, from now on, I'm backing into every space.
Now, I do, because
Even the public parking ones, do something.
I have been watching, because I knew that more Supreme Court rulings were going to be coming out this morning. The next one that did come out is on gay marriage. The Supreme Court has overturned all the bans on same-sex marriage.
So they've overturned them all now?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What does it say? Do you got any more information?
I'm looking it up now because I was trying to stay in the
'Cause
conversation.
this is breaking news. This is breaking news like right now.
Yeah, it just happened, maybe 5 or 10 minutes ago.
Supreme Court said, "To hell with your 10th Amendment."
Yeah, I don't give a crap. I don't care about none of that stuff. And we got Brandon on the phone. We'll get a reaction from Brandon immediately. Look at this breaking news, instant reactions. Boy, it's almost like we're actually like a real radio show. Brandon, so I guess the Supreme Court's also come out now, and they've basically overturned all the same-sex marriage bans across the nation. Reaction.
Wow, what a slippery slope of state rights issues as well as religious freedom issues. I mean, it's just a slippery slope of a lot of different things. But it really does show we wouldn't even have this conversation if the government wasn't so intertwined in our lives, including registering each and every marriage. So, it's not really a surprise. We I definitely been one of the ones that have predicted that this is the direction that we'll go and that would happen. And now it'll be interesting to see what the next shoe is to drop.
Well, hey, let me ask you a question as it relates towards this one, Brandon, because this is one of those ones where we have an agreement on the solution, even though that it sometimes we may look at the issue a little bit differently. But me and you may look at it differently. However, do you think that what is going on now with this Supreme Court decision could possibly adjust the tactics of those that oppose gay marriage to adopt the proper solution to the problem, in that we should get the government out of it completely? At least in my opinion, we should get the government out of it completely. Because if you've seen in a couple of the states to where it was overturned, that the government just stopped issuing marriage licenses. Mm-hmm. Like, they just stopped it in its entirety. Do you think that might be possible to be a reaction? Because I actually like that reaction. Just stop issuing them. Nobody gets them anymore. You go to your church to get married and let that be the end of it. Do you think that is a possibility?
Well, I doubt the federal government will allow that to happen, because they want to make sure that you're licensed. They want to make sure that they can, have you on record. So if you do that, let's say Florida no longer issues marriage license, that's great until you leave Florida. Now you're required to have one. So now you got to figure out how to backtrack your life to pay some exorbitant fee from a circuit court processing thing to recognize some sort of, document from your church or whatever. So, I think the bigger issue that will come into play now is, what will this mean for those who, let's say, a religious freedom argument would be, what if the church says, well, no, I'm still not doing it. I'm still not recognizing, I'm not performing them, whatever. Are you going to force me to do it? And there's already been a lot of murmurs about, the tax exemption. Maybe they just lose their tax exemption status. What churches will stand up and say, listen, I believe this is what I do. If I lose my tax exempt status, so be it. And we're not above seeing the Obama administration do this. We saw what they did with the IRS scandal, what we're seeing with, conservative Tea Party, and even some liberal and religious groups about, how the IRS was monitoring who's nonprofit versus not, who's tax exempt, who wouldn't be. So that would probably seem like the next batch of lawsuits that I'd foresee, as well as, we're already seeing a normalizing of transgender in the culture, so I would expect to see more of that, as well as, the polygamy argument that's already kind of taken some root in Nevada and Utah.
Well, hey, Brandon, let me ask you a follow-up question to the statements that you just made there. I'm just trying to remember of past shows on this. You are one of the people, though, that do support that the churches should relinquish that tax-exempt status in order to make sure that they have the freedom to say whatever they want to say, that they don't. You kind of are in the camp of, hey, just get rid of that thing anyway so you can say what you want.
Well, I'm a voting board member at my church, and I've made myself very clear that, if we have to pay more in taxes, we pay more in taxes, but we're not going to change what we believe and how we practice that. It's against our faith. So if that's the consequence of that, so be it. From a society standpoint, I've long since said that the government doesn't need to be into the marriage licensing business. And yeah, I do understand the nature of trying to do what's best as a society and child rearing and some of those arguments, but we're on a slippery slope where that's not. The government is never the long-term solution, and that ship has long since sailed. We're way past that now, and I foresee that to be a very interesting sort of revelation for many churches. Big churches would have just monstrous tax obligations, depending on where the real estate is, and what kind of revenue they bring in from their tithing congregation. So it would be a very difficult challenge for many, many churches. And I can see that being a big upside to the liberals who are like, that's a way we can get more tax revenue. So, there's a lot of different angles this can play out. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see which shoe drops next.
Yeah, and I've done the books for many churches as an accountant, and then been on the board of a few churches, and I've always said it's better to just pay the taxes than to allow the government to start telling you what you can and can't, preach on what you can and can't do. And I've always advocated that they do that, even though it is harder for a church to continue on, because you are relying on the giving of others and then paying a portion of that to someone else that's not going to your operating expenses. It does make it more difficult on the church, but I look at it as, but freedom to be able to do what you want and preach the way you want to do without government intrusion. So I've actually always advocated for that.
Where do you think that the people that will go to those individual churches, where do you think that their mindset is at? Do you think that their mindset would be of, well, keep the tax exempt status because we're able to do more with the money that we get because we're able to keep more of that money? Or do you think that they agree with you guys in that, you know, I want them to have the freedom to say whatever they want to say up at the pulpit? Which way do you think that the parishioners are at? I mean, based off of, you know, your experience with, you know, the other people going to church.
The experience that I've had in churches, and I've always, and I've said this before, I'm non-denominational, so I go to a non-denominational church, which doesn't, there is no top-down structure and things like that. So I've been able, you know, we've had just individuals that make up the church without any affiliation with anything else, and I've always found the parishioners to be much more of, if we have to, we'll use that as just, it's another way of, it's just another expense that we have to operate the way that we want to, and we're much more worried. Their worry is that we want to be able to preach, you know, the way that we want to be able to preach and do that. And so if this means that we have another bill and it's called a tax bill, then so be it, because we'd rather not relinquish our rights. But I don't know, you know, other big churches that are affiliated might not feel the same way.
Brandon, where are the parishioners that you've talked to about this, or if you've talked to any parishioners about this, where are they at on this?
Well, my personal congregation is going to be much in line with the exact same thing. We just relinquish our tax-exempt status. We're not going to be held to deviating from what God's Word says. So that's where our congregation is going to stand. But I can see denominations fragmenting again. We've seen this already with gay marriage. We've already seen ordination of, you know, homosexual leadership. We've also seen, you know, the recognition clause. You already see denominations splintering and breaking off, churches breaking away from that, where they may say they're a Lutheran church, but they're now no longer a form of the ECLA, or, you know, it'll break off. So we may see the exact same thing where the larger body national group may take a stance to go, listen, we're not going to give up that tax, and we're going to keep it, and, you know, you can get married or whatever. I don't know how that would play from a national standpoint, but you can definitely see there could be more splintering. And definitely, it's going to be more interesting when you get into like the hardcore evangelical denominations, the Southern Baptists, for instance, the Pentecostal Assemblies of God, those kinds of things, who have had more of a pretty much, you know, staunch stance. And, you know, they're not oppressive about it. They're kind of quiet. We just do our thing. But this would force their hand to make pretty hardcore decisions one way or the other.
Well, let me ask you a follow-up question, because
that's not even. Let me go a step further too. We're not even discussing the impact that it would be for religious groups that just operate a business. So you talk about, you know, the impact for hospitals, the impact for we already see negative impact with like orphanage and adoption groups, because they don't believe they should give children, let's say, to a gay couple. So they've been forced out of business because they don't want to come off their personal beliefs. So you'll see more of that, I believe, also with Christian schools, Christian hospitals, large Christian charities. This is another reason why there was a tax exemption status to begin with, right? It was beneficial for society, for these groups to what they represented in communities. And again, as we've discussed many times, that has shifted much, where the government is the welfare state. They don't want the churches being the charity. So this would be another way of forcing that move in that direction.
No, that's true. But I got a different question, and again, you have to pardon my ignorance on this. The majority of the churches that are in this country, is there a hierarchy when it comes to like a nationwide group that they all belong to, or what percentage of them is actually like that? Like what is the, like, if normally if like somebody wants to form a church, like normally it's like a pastor from another church says, well, I'm going to break off and make another church, not because there was anything wrong with the one that they were in, but they're out there to spread the word. Spreading the word is actually having multiple locations and going out there. But when churches, do they belong to someone else? Like, do they belong to another higher organization, or are they own freestanding church?
It depends. There's a lot of
different denominations. It makes a difference,
right? Depending on the denomination. So if you're the Catholic Church, everybody is affiliated, and it goes up the line, and there's a hierarchy all the way to the Vatican. So, but if you're a Lutheran church, there's a national Lutheran organization, and you affiliate just like anything else. You affiliate,
but you ain't got to though.
Well, you don't have to, but they can come
No,
out.
you don't have to. You can be a non-affiliated.
You can be a
Lutheran church.
non-affiliated Lutheran church. So but there is affiliations where there isn't, but there's not a national, like, we are all the churches. If you're Christian, you apply with us. It's just the different denominations all will have their hierarchy and their affiliation process and things like that, and they can unaffiliate you if you don't follow their standards, and then you're just an unaffiliated person that believes in the same things they do.
What's the advantages of being affiliated?
Well, you resources, you have more, there's
Like
more.
they help out.
Yeah, they help out, and there's training. I mean, it's just like, they have big conferences where pastors can come together with best practices and things like that. I mean, it's the same as any other organization that would have affiliates, where when it goes higher up, you end up getting more resources, and there's national promotion that you will take advantage of and things like that, where something like a non-denominational church, there's nothing on the title that says, hey, you're a part of our group. You actually have to walk in and see if you want to be a part of that group. So there's disadvantages to being non-denominational, as far as you're not affiliated with another church. You don't have that, I'm Baptist or I'm Lutheran, where if anyone was in the area, they'll go, oh, I'm a Baptist, I'll walk in there. So there's disadvantages to not having that, but there are advantages into where you're not told what to preach, how to preach it, and you're a little community all within itself.
Anything to add to that, Brandon?
Well, I think really the best tell here is going to really be how the Catholic Church handles things, because right now the Vatican has been pretty consistently conservative on this. To say, listen, that's not something we do. He wants to preach tolerance. He wants to talk about reaching out to them, like many of us in our congregations have done. But this starts to force the hand, where you start saying, well, I have to lease out my facility. I have to govern over services, and that. If you have a national organization or a national agreement, they make a decision that is contrary to what your beliefs are, that can put you in a very difficult situation. Obviously, she mentioned training and education, but you have the whole universities that are being run by some of these groups. You're sending youth pastors and young people off to get educated, to get a degree, to whatever, and now that may be in jeopardy now because their belief systems are not going to be very contrary to what you've been teaching or what you believe in. And so it's definitely kind of like the snowball coming down the avalanche of potential shoes to drop. And that's before we get to what is next now, because I think what we have seen over the last few weeks is the Bruce Jenner now calls himself Caitlyn, and now you've got Vogue magazine running with this transgender model, and you see the polygamy case that's still now moving ahead again in Utah and in Nevada. So you'll see more of what we want to be represented too. We're not going to be excluded. Why exclude them? So it's not a challenge that ends today. It's just going to be a different argument, of different issues that affect a lot more people.
All right. Always like to have a little bit of, little background on things. It's always nice to have. Is there anything else, Brandon, that's going on that we didn't get to that you think we really do need to get to?
Oh, I don't know. I love talking about all the fluffy stuff, but if we don't have time for that, we don't have time.
No. We can totally do the fluffy stuff. Did you see Jurassic World yet?
I've seen it twice. Yes.
What'd you think about it?
I really enjoyed it. It's a great sequel to the first film. It's a lot of fun. Great special effects. Really highlights how far the technology came. I thought they did a good job with it. I'm shocked at the incredible reaction. For it to be as big as it is, was even way exceeded even our expectations.
Let me just say it this way. I watched the movie. And maybe the Avengers Age of Ultron has just ruined me at this point.
It's jaded you.
It's jaded me. That nothing tastes good anymore. That's the problem. I think ultimately that's the problem. I was not that incredibly impressed with this movie. Like, I liked the concept of the reboot that they did, but I still was like, at the end of the day, this thing still goes away and everybody gets eaten by a dinosaur except for Chris Pratt and the redhead and the kids. The kids never die.
Thanks for spoiling it for me, bro.
Oh, oh crap! Sorry, Greg.
Not everybody dies.
So, but a lot of people
There's
do though.
20,000 people in the park at the time. They
you know
don't
what,
all
man?
die.
Maybe I'm just jaded, man. Maybe that's what it is. I'm just jaded. I can't believe it's done this well.
I don't know that it's fair to make an apples. It's not an apples to apples comparison to discuss, what Ultron's trying to accomplish, what Jurassic World's trying to accomplish. I mean, that's like, a more appropriate comparison would be one of the lesser Marvel movies to Jurassic World, where Ultron's like the 11th movie in the franchise, so it's a little hard to say it's an apples to apples comparison. I don't think Jurassic World is as nearly as good a film as Avengers is. But from a film standpoint, neither one of them are the best films of the summer. I mean, to be honest, Inside Out and Mad Max are way better films, and neither one of them are. So
That's what
it's a little hard to, always make apples to apples comparisons when we try to equate, films.
No, and you're right. And I'm not saying that you're wrong. I know that you're right. When I watched it, like when I walked out of the movie theater, I was just like, it was all right. Pratt was good. I like Pratt as an actor. I kind of a like your everyday guy kind of actor that works, that seems like he's a good worker in a movie. So like I like that part, but like at the same time, I don't know. I was expecting, you know what? Maybe it was this. Like I like Law and Order as a TV show, and I had way too many Law and Order people in there. Like there was almost, I've seen these people on TV, man. Like that guy's a psychiatrist. He doesn't do anything with dinosaur eggs. He's faking it being in there. What is this fakery here going on?
your trickery.
Don't use your trickery on me.
World was a good movie. I enjoyed it. The kids enjoyed it a lot. So, listen. I mean, I do have to agree with Brandon. You're comparing two movies that I don't think should be compared.
Hold on, I'm gonna do a reference here. When I saw the mom, I thought she was gonna read a book to me while naked. Get that reference? Come on, can you guys get that reference? By
I
the way,
haven't seen the movies.
He has no idea what you're talking
I haven't
about.
seen Jurassic World, so
Never
I don't
mind,
know
I'm
what you're
sorry.
talking about.
Hold on, see if Brandon got the reference. Brandon, did you get the reference?
I'm not sure I understood what you were saying. Say it again. Read a book onto me. What?
She was going to read a book to me naked that she wrote. She was going to read a book to me that she wrote naked.
Is
I'm
that
not
the
sure I
is
know
that
what
the
you're
girl
talking about.
from
We're
Big
not
Bang
using the word
Theory?
naked.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was the girl.
I figured out the reference.
She was a guest on the Big Bang Theory, and she was the one that was the really smart person, and then read Leonard her book naked.
She also does one of the voices on Archer, I think.
Oh, is that
Well,
right?
the next movie that we need to see and the boys really want to see, so we'll probably have to do it this weekend, is Inside Out.
Yeah, Brandon, you've seen Inside Out?
Yeah, it's a very good film. It's definitely an upper echelon of the Pixar films because it really has more of a heaviness and a gravitas to it that a typical animated cartoon doesn't have. It's a lot more of a coming of age story than they've kind of built it. I'm going to be shocked that the 5 and 6 year olds are going to enjoy it as much as the adults do because it's got so many layers to the nostalgic of bringing up a child and growing up ourselves and all of that. They just did a fantastic job.
Well, I've seen the previews on it, and you can only gauge so much from the previews, but it is kind of funny to see all the voices in somebody's head kind of arguing over who's going to control them.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
like it. No,
I know, I do think it's funny, though. I mean, I can only imagine in the head and what that looks like, but, because that'd be a whole different kind of Pixar film.
You don't want to leave right away. You definitely want to make sure you watch some of the credits.
Some of the credits, you got to
Ethan is big on that.
Yeah.
Ethan is like, we can't leave. There's always extra stuff.
And I went and saw Age of Ultron with Rigel. As soon as the credits started rolling, he wanted to get up and leave. I'm like, no, we got to sit. Wait, there's going to be more. He's like, but it's over. I'm like, but there's more. Sit. Be
It
patient.
ain't over yet. Well, look, I'm glad they do that, by the way. You know why?
like
because
that.
then you got to sit through all the credits.
Yeah.
I've been doing that since Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Damn! Damn! Wow.
But we started standing up after Jurassic World, and Ethan's like, what are you guys doing? Like, where are we going? The credits are going. We still have to wait.
Yeah, I didn't wait for that one, though. I don't think there was anything after that one anyway, so it didn't matter.
And I like get mad at if a movie doesn't have a scene at the end of the credits, I'll get mad at him. I'm like, what a waste.
To hell, screw the whole movie. I don't care. Brandon, do you like that aspect of these movies that they put the little sneaky things at the end?
Well, I definitely think you should if it's going to be a franchise film. I think if you're going to start threading together a bigger and bigger universe, I think that is what people really do sort of get attracted to. They really get engulfed. You start to build a massive fan base when you say, I'm going to build a universe to play in. And Jurassic World may have missed a pretty big opportunity there to kind of like throw a little sneak preview or a little hint out there. And many other films have done the same. And it's like, think Marvel has shown that people get excited about this. Even if it's leaked, people don't care. They want to see it on the big screen. They want to talk about it. They want to talk about who these different characters may or may not be. And I think it is really kind of a cool little thing that it's really kind of taking root now, even though there were some great examples from the 80s and beyond.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be fun. And you're right. There's some good movies that come out that we're looking forward to. Again, like I said, I think the Avenger thing's ruined me for every other movie now. If it's not gonna have like Captain America or Iron Man in it, I don't care. I don't know how you're gonna survive when they move on without these guys. I don't know.
Yeah,
because
they are.
Survive.
I don't know. I don't know either. But I'll try to figure out a way. But I don't know how. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm still. I need to cross that bridge when I get there.
Yeah,
right?
post Civil War, we're going to have a completely different cast for the Avengers. So you better get ready for that.
Yeah, but what about the Infinity War?
Some of them might come back for that, but after Captain America Civil War, the next Civil War movie, the Avengers team is going to be completely different. Actually, what you saw in Age of Ultron is the new Avengers team. Vision, Scarlet Witch, Falcon, all those characters. That's the new Avengers going forward, and you're going to get Black Panther and some of the other Avengers characters added on as we go forward. Iron Man's going to be gone.
Spider-Man, who was just cast, by the way.
Yes,
Yeah,
I saw that.
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Yes.
I like that they always put a little kid in there.
Well, you
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
have
he's
to.
only 19.
I mean, Spider-Man has to be a kid.
Yeah.
Because he is a kid. He's
Yeah.
a teenager.
Yeah, but I like it though. I'm just saying. I like it though. I'm into that. All right. Well, let's go ahead and let's wrap this whole thing up. His name is Brandon. The website is theglobaldispatch.com. And if you don't mind, Brandon, I need to talk to you online. So like after when you get a little bit of time after 11 o'clock, if you could give me a call because I do got to talk to you.
All right, man.
All right, cool. All right, brother. We'll talk to you later,
Take
man.
care. Talk hard.
Talk
hard.
Always like talking to Brandon.
Always a pleasure.
I do got to talk to him about
He
something.
always brings something special to the show.
I do got to talk to him about something though. So
Well, we heard you.
I'm just saying.
He knows.
Everybody
Yeah.
knows.
Yeah.
That's not a secret.
All four
Everybody
of our
knows.
listeners are like, "Oh, I wonder what he's going to talk to Brandon about."
And nothing crazy, but just something that is needs to get brought up a little bit. So I need help with something. So
But you need help with a lot of things.
there's a little bit of truth to that. There's a little bit of truth to that.
I think there's a lot of truth to that, is what she said.
The other thing I did want to bring up, and I wonder if I even got this thing up yet. Gosh dang it, man! What is going on with my computer and my internet today? It's just certain websites, man, just don't work out the way I need them to work out.
Yeah,
for me,
it's
by the way.
certain websites for me I can't really get on.
I'm having a lot of problems on the website side here with stuff. But the one thing I did want to bring up is everybody is sure the legislative session has just passed. It's all over with now. They did pass the budget. And while there's a lot of bad things that happened within there, there's also some stuff that happened that I considered to be good things and that now they're being sued for. It's funny. It actually is kind of funny. But the thing that they're being sued for right now is that the Florida legislature, because of Amendment 1, the Florida legislature passed a law or passed a bill that had them buying very little land.
Right.
And that what they were doing was they were trying to take care of a lot of the stuff that they already had. And they were also including like salaries of people that were working on this stuff, which I do think, again, everything that they did falls in line with Amendment 1.
Right.
Now, Amendment 1 was written to be very
broad.
Very broad. For that reason, though, if they tried to get specific on it, I think they would have lost, and they know that.
Right.
So, now that the state budget is passed and that these environmental land-grabbing groups are all pissed off, they're now suing the legislature, claiming that they didn't follow Amendment 1, that they violated the Constitution on Amendment 1. And one of their talking points that they talk about a lot of is that 70% of the people voted for this, so they have a mandate, right? All right. Let's actually kind of break down this 70% thing first. They're correct that in that election, that 70% of the people that went to the polls voted for Amendment 1.
Yes.
But if you read I'm not even going to get into the Amendment 1 and read that. However, in that same election, half of the people went to vote.
Right. Half of the voters.
Half of the voters actually went to vote.
Because not everybody's a voter.
Out of all the registered voters, half of them went to the polls that year. So you got half of 70, you got 70%.
So it's 35% of voters actually voted for it.
Yeah, so 35% of the voters actually voted for it.
Which comes out to like 28% of the actual people.
Yes, even 28% of the actual people. So if you want to look at it from one way, you have no freaking mandate. You won. They put it in there. Oh, who's calling for this one? God, I hope somebody's calling for this one in a good way. So they call, or they're going to sue. The 28% are going to sue now, or they're going to claim that they sue, and these people are claiming that they're claiming that these people, that they are the ones that, well, this is the mandate of what the people wanted. I don't think you told them the truth, though. And the truth is, and again, they always claim that this is some talking point that I'm giving out here, but it's not. Between the federal government, the state government, and local governments, they own a landmass the size of New Jersey.
It's true.
There's no getting around that. They own a landmass the size of New Jersey. So how much is enough? How much land is enough? And if you want to talk about what's going to hurt the poor or hurt the rich or hurt whoever, the more land you take away because they're taxing everybody on their land that they own, the more property you take, the less tax revenue the state's getting. Period. Bottom line. Now, again, I'm against those taxes anyway. You shouldn't be taxed on your land to begin with because that's communism, for lack of a better term. But I'm so sick of these people saying that they have this majority or this
Mandate.
This mandate. Screw your mandate. It's 28%. You have no freaking mandate whatsoever. Who's on the line, by the way?
On the line, we have former candidate for City Commission Seat 4 in Tarpon Springs, Tommy Frame.
Holy cow, Tommy Frame's on the line. You know, we still have your yard sign up on our wall, by the way.
I see that. That is awesome. I know. I like to see that sign still.
Well, you are a voice of the people, sir. So what do you have to say, sir?
Well, I just wanted to call in because I heard, with the ruling of the, gay marriage. I know you guys briefly talked about it before, and I heard somebody say something about the 10th Amendment. I wanted, it was kind of, glossed over, but do you guys really view that as a 10th Amendment issue for the states to decide on gay marriage?
I don't know who said it.
I said it, but it was mostly joking.
Yeah, I think Greg said it, but Greg's kind of joking on that, though. I don't think Greg really kind of means that, though. I don't think the government has any role to play in marriage whatsoever.
Of course. Yeah, of course. That's definitely the most ideal situation. I think I still am pretty happy about the decision today because the government's going to force, have to, do these licenses anyway. And really, it's just two people entering into a contract. We shouldn't have to ask permission to have anything anyway, but they're going to, at least they expanded it for everybody. So I'm a little happy today, but yeah, no, I definitely on the side, we just need to scrap the whole, licensing marriage issue anyway, at least out of the hands of the government. So. Well,
and in my opinion on this, on Tommy, in talking about this, I will say that in order to finally get what we want, which would be to get the government out of it, I think that you had to have a Supreme Court ruling that went down this way. Because in order to get the people that would be with us, like, I'm sure you've done this too, Tommy, where you've gone out there and said we need to get the government out of it all the way. And even people that are against gay marriage, some of those people will say to you, well, yeah, that's probably a solution that I can agree with. We need to get those people to understand that the only solution to get what they want is to get the government out of it. And so you have to completely defeat them. They almost have to be completely defeated in order for them to start listening to the actual solution. So in this aspect, like, I like what the Supreme Court did because I think it gets us closer to getting the government out of it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, especially with what happened. We saw that with Alabama. Alabama was trying really hard to figure out a way where they did not have to, issue gay marriage licenses. They said, okay, well, the government's going to get out of marriage completely. So, I know that they didn't do it, with my best intentions in mind, for liberty or equality, but, either way, they still got to the right conclusion. So I totally agree.
Yeah, no, and again, it's almost like making, oh boy, I can't believe I'm going to use Friedman here on this one. It's that you almost have to make people do the things that needed to be done, even if it's done for not necessarily the right reasons.
Yeah.
Like, even for, if your rationale for it's wrong,
but you came to the right conclusion.
You came to the right conclusion. Now, and Tommy made this a central point of his campaign when he was running for. No, I'm just kidding.
No, he was
I'm totally kidding. No, I'm totally kidding. It'd be funny. It'd be funny. You want to talk about if somebody didn't know their position, by the way. Tommy never brought that up, by the way, when he was running.
Because he knew his position.
Yeah, because he knew his position, but it would be funny, though, if somebody go like, I'm running for city council because we got to make sure everybody can get married. It's like, not really running for the right spot. No. I'm sure we'll have somebody that will do this, though. On one side or the other, we'll have somebody that will be willing to do it. Anything else, Tommy?
No. I hope you guys have a good rest of your morning. It was good seeing you guys down at the convention. And after my baby's born in the next couple of days, actually, hopefully I'll be able to get back out there and see you guys soon.
Well, and what you have to do is now we're raising the next generation of libertarians. So everyone, all these babies and kids, all need to start coming to events, and we need to start doing big family-friendly events where we can bring all the kids and start raising up the next generation of activists.
Oh, there you go, Danielle.
That's what I do.
Definitely.
Trying to suck everybody in, Danielle. Good job.
Exactly.
No,
I take Rigel to the LP meetings, and he's always disappointed in the Libertarian Party because they don't have cake.
Well, we should start bringing cake. I'm going to run on a pro cake agenda next time.
There you
I'm
go.
going to say everyone will get cake.
Let them eat cake.
Let them eat cake. Hey, thanks for calling in, Tommy, man. We really do appreciate it, brother.
No problem. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.
You too, man. Oh, man, that's awesome. That's awesome for Tommy calling in, though, man.
Yeah.
Hey, it's awesome he was even listening, so that's even better.
At least someone was.
At least somebody was listening.
He
right?
told me at convention he listens every week when he can. He
Yeah.
usually sits there at his computer while he's working
That's
with
cool.
headphones
Yeah, there's some
on.
people
That's
around.
awesome,
There's some people
yeah.
around that do that. Hey, look, and that's one of the reasons we continue to do the show, man. You know what I mean? We know that there are people that listen, and you know, look, but we're not, we're not sycophants where we're trying to, we're kind of like a speakeasy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, tell your friends about it. You don't, whatever. We don't care.
And the thing is, we get most of our listeners on the replay. We do. Well, you always are so concerned with the live numbers, and you're like, oh, we only got 4 people watching. Yeah, but we get like a couple hundred views over the week after it's over. You know, there are a lot of people who can't listen at this time.
Well, no, that's fine. At the end of the day, man, this is, we try to put things out there in a good way. And, not only do I do this show, too, though, but I actually do interviews on other shows, too. So Weeklies. Yeah, I have 3 weeklies now. On 3 different shows. Some of them are damn early in the morning, though, brother. I gotta tell you, man. That Monday morning at 5:30 with the cat, and boy, that hurts. That hurts, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. That's a oof.
The thing is when he goes on the radio things is that I can hear the phone, so I wake up, and he can go back to sleep, but I can't. So when you do a 5:30 show, that means I'm up at 5:30 in the morning, and that's it.
I can go right back to sleep, though, after the interview, though.
This morning I've been up since 6:30.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was a good show, too. I like doing Ed Dean show. I love doing Ed Dean show, though.
Cool.
And and I'm loving Sunshine State News, by the way. They put out our press release this week, too, for the Amendment 1 stuff. God, it was so weird having to defend the legislature this week, by the way.
I know it was, but I think that they did the right thing. They, we have so much land that is in disrepair and not being taken care of that they had to start addressing that even before anyone could think about buying new land. And as an environmentalist, the environmentalist group should agree with that, is that there's tons of land that they've been yelling about that is in disrepair. And so, that has to be addressed.
Well, and and ultimately I think that's the problem that I'm having with these people. The problem here is that you're not being honest as to your intentions.
Right.
If you were honest in your intentions, then you would say that they better fix this stuff first. Look, I don't think they need to buy another piece of land unless they sell off a corresponding piece of land. The size of Jersey is enough.
Right. No, and I agree with you. And like I said, I just think that they're not being, intellectually honest about it, because these are the same people that have been yelling and screaming that we have state-owned land that's in disrepair and an environmental hazard, and it has to be cleaned up right away. But then when they put the money into those projects, you have these same environmental groups yelling and screaming that they didn't buy enough land.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I don't understand it. And here's the thing. You guys are crying sour milk right now. You know why? Because we won this time. Normally you people win every damn time. You're always winning something. You won with Amendment 1. You win with certain, laws getting passed. You know what? You lost this time. And you're all pissed off and crying about it like a bunch of little girls. And so you're going to go to court and you're going to sue over it. And guess what? You're going to lose. You're going to lose because they didn't violate. Look, this is the one time they didn't actually violate the damn Constitution. Like the one time they didn't actually do it, and you're going to sue them? Yeah. And here's the thing, though. This fight ain't even close to being over.
We're overtime, though.
All right, well, we're overtime. All right, I don't know what Greg's doing. He is feverishly typing over there.
Typing and typing and
I
typing.
think he's yelling at somebody on Facebook, though. But that's
You're
just
right.
me. All right, let's play some music there, typist.
He's fired up over there.
He is fired
too.
up. You know why? Verify.
I know he is.
He's all crazy about it. I don't blame him, by the way. We'll get to that
Papers,
later on.
please.
Let me get your papers.
Oh, he just said something dumb, dude.
Oh, shit. All right. Well, hey, look, we'll see you guys next week, man. 1787network.com. Goodbye.